Hello everybody, my name is Wolf and I am the Autistic Werewolf. I have been gone for quite a little while, but I want to let you know what happened. I sold my old place and I have now moved into my new place, and it took a lot of work and it has been amazingly stressful. And I guess that's one of the things I want to talk to you all about. If you are autistic, and you are lucky enough to have a good job, or you have money from whatever decent source, and you're able to buy your own place, let me tell you, I've never been through a more difficult and harrowing experience in my life than this. You know, this isn't the first time I've purchased property. That's actually about the third time. And the first two times, easy as pie. And I've even done refinances, and they were easy as pie. You just went, you signed the paperwork, and you basically proved your income. It was easy as providing them with pay stubs or other valid proofs of your income. But let me tell you, now, today, in 2021, oh, it is pure heck trying to navigate the process of getting the money, securing the mortgage, getting the best interest rate. And that's always been a little bit of a challenge because, you have to shop around for the best rates, and you have to talk to a lot of people, and you have to let them know that you are not going to be taken advantage of. And that requires a lot of self-advocacy. It requires a lot of assertiveness, and you have to learn how to be assertive in such a way that you don't drive people away, but that you actually let them know that you're not going to be cheated, you're not going to be taken advantage of. And a lot of times my autism is such that it telegraphs itself. People tend to see that as a weakness in me that they think that they're going to exploit, and I have to let them know better. And I've become, after over 60 years of life, I've become pretty good at telling people don't tread on me. I've been pretty good at letting people know that, if you're gonna get down and dirty with me and you're gonna try and cheat me, I'm gonna let you know that that's not gonna work out pretty. That's not gonna work out in any way. It's not gonna be pretty when it finishes. Like I always like to tell people, I'm not telling you I'm a great fighter. All I'm telling you is that when the fight is over, I won't be the only one bleeding. So, but the thing about getting a new place isn't the paperwork so much as it is now all the hoops that you have to jump through. And a lot of the hoops that you have to jump through now aren't people. It's not a people-based process anymore. There was a time when taking out a mortgage was a people-based process. So you had a human being on the other side of the table or the other side of the phone, and they were inputting information into a computer, but they would be able to clarify the questions in such a way that I could easily understand them. But that's not the way things work in 2021. In 2021, there are very few people in the process, and it's all basically computers. And the problem with a computerized process for getting a mortgage or buying a home or going through the title process and the title search and all of the rest of the things that lead to closing, the problem with all of it is that the people writing the questions and the people creating the process that the computer uses to move you through the mortgage process, the loan acquisition process, all the different processes, the title process, the closing process. All of these things are done by computers, and the people who write the instructions, the people who build the process, they have a neurotypical bias. And what I mean by that is that the questions assume that you understand the typical human paradigm, the way that they think. And of course, me being autistic, I have no clue. So a lot of times going through the computer, I would read the question literally when in reality the question wanted you to supply, I guess, typical human common sense applied in a typical human way, and I simply was not able to do that. As a result, my matriculation, I guess you want to call it, my journey through the mortgage process, through the title process, well, let's just say I hit every speed bump there was. I have stellar financials. I have stellar everything. The problem is, however, being able to present all of those things the way the computer expected you to do so. Those things I did not do particularly well. Now, I ended up getting a good rate, and I'll be finished with this very soon. But let me tell you, it was a difficult situation. Luckily, I'm finished with the hardest part. And this is my new place. I know you really can't see it, but if you've noticed, all of the rest, all the glass blocks are gone. They were part of the old place. You'll never see another glass block unless I decide to put them in here, which I'm not going to. They came with the other place. I didn't put those in, but I enjoyed them. This place has no glass blocks. And the reason why I moved to a bigger place is because of YouTube, believe it or not. I will be retiring in about a year's time, hopefully. I applied for a promotion at work, but I don't think I'll get it. And if I don't get it, then they don't need me. And if they don't need me, then I'll just move into retirement, and I'm going to move into making my YouTube program something that I do every other day or every day. Depends on how difficult these programs are to produce. I haven't a clue. But I needed a special room. I needed a little studio, a little place where I could do my YouTube videos that I could dedicate just to that. So that way I could have something nicer for you guys and ladies. I'm going to paint the wall green. I'm going to, so that we can have the chroma key, and I can show you pictures of a lot more things. I hope to enhance my production values so that we can give you something that looks a bit more professional. I have cerebral palsy and autism and alternating exotropia and bilateral foot deformities and leg deformities and dyslexia and brain damage. So, I'm not going to be as professional and polished as a lot of the YouTubers. And that's not my goal anyway. I want to give you something exciting to look at, something that will let you get lost and in the narrative and hopefully learn a few things. And I want to be able to explain things with more than just my voice. I want to actually show you pictures and use charts and things to give you insights. And that's what I'm working on. Now, you're really not going to notice the difference till December of 2021, because that's when I retire. Come January of 2022, I will have the entire day to myself. And one of the things that I intend to do is, like I said, focus on my YouTube channel. And I have a special room that's assigned just to that. It's not ready yet. It's not even close to ready yet. I've got a lot of things I've yet to do, but as soon as I get that little area finished, I'll share that with you. So like I said before, this is not a dead channel. I know it may give that appearance because right now it is a constant struggle to deal with the move and still go to work. I'm working from home. And I've got both of my COVID shots. I got the Pfizer shot. I got both of my vaccinations. Like I said, the Pfizer is the one that I got. I actually got two of them. You go for the first one, you get it, and you get the second one. Now, if y'all want to know how I dealt with it, well, I ended up having to go to the Baltimore City Convention Center. And that was a bit of a challenge. Now, because the lines were so long, I went in my wheelchair. And I sat down in the wheelchair because that way at least I could sit down and read while I was in that long line. Well, little did I know that this nice lady would come along, and she took my wheelchair and she said, "Come on, we're going to move you to the front of the line." So I went to the front of the line, and they couldn't find my information because my name is Wolf, and a lot of people want to make that my last name because nobody in their right mind could be named Wolf as the first name, so they always put it in the last. So they didn't have my information because they kept looking for my name as Wolf being my last name. We finally got that sorted out, and got in, and they gave me the first COVID-19 Pfizer shot. And you go and you sit down in that little area where you have to wait like a half hour, and then if you don't fall over dead or you don't have anaphylactic shock, then they let you go. And I didn't, and they let me go. Now, the difficult part was there were so many people. It was a convention center, so it's a big, huge, pretty building, but there were tons of people in it. And that was difficult. And, I dealt with it, of course, like always, but it was a very difficult thing. As for the shot itself, pretty easy. The people were very laid back and easygoing. It's just a thing of lifting up your sleeve and burying your skin, and they stuck you with the needle, and after they did the appropriate alcohol sterilization and such, they stab you with the needle, and they put the little band-aid, little round band-aid on the spot where they stab you, and I left. Now, of course, after about 14 days, you have to go back. So I went back. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Same thing with my wheelchair so that I could sit down the whole time. And because if I don't sit down, I'll fall down. I have cerebral palsy and brain damage and alternating exotropia. Basically means I can't see really well. So I have all those things. So I'm sitting down. Of course, the lady plucks me out of the line again, and off we go. I get the second shot. And again, nothing much really happens. They put me in the line where they wait to see if you have some sort of adverse reaction. What they're really looking for is called anaphylactic shock. It's basically an extreme allergic reaction, and if you don't catch it right away, it could kill you. So they want to make sure that if anybody has that type of response to the vaccine, that they're seen to straight away. Well, anyway, I didn't have it. I mean, that's the nice thing about being an autistic werewolf. We're pretty hardy creatures. So anyway, so I get home, and really I'm not feeling anything at all. I'm like, because they say the second shot's the one that's supposed to make you feel different or bad, or you might have some symptoms associated with it. And I went all through the day, and maybe about 5, 6, 7 hours, I got the shot at exactly 10:43 in the morning, and now it's getting on to be about 7 o'clock, and I'm starting to feel just a bit weird. Not myself. Not bad. I mean, I wasn't coughing or hacking, and I didn't have a fever, and didn't have a headache, although I did have a greater awareness of my temporal region, just up here. I don't normally feel and focus on the fact that, I have a forehead and temples, but for some strange reason, the muscles felt like they were pulling taut, and it was a slight discomfort, but not much. So I was like, oh wow, I didn't have very much of a reaction at all. And then I played my video games. I was playing Borderlands 2, and killing skags, and trying to kill Handsome Jack. And finally, next day I had to go to work, so I went to sleep around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And I go to sleep, and, nothing. Until around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I start to get these little chills. Nothing bad. I mean, it wasn't the chills that you get when you're really, really sick. Just chills that were noticeable. And then fever and flushing, to the face, and a little bit of a headache. And each one of them lasted about 45 minutes to an hour. And then the weirdest thing of all was I got this really, really horrible upset stomach. And I felt like I was trying my best to keep a volcano from erupting. And I remember laying on my back perfectly still, because if I had moved just 1 inch, I just knew that I was just going to start to heave, and there was just going to be vomit everywhere. And I didn't want that. So I was laying perfectly still, trying my best not to move, trying my best to go to sleep, or something, so I could keep from, losing whatever it is I had for dinner. Because yes, I was stupid enough to eat dinner, because I was like, well, I'm not feeling anything. I'm fine. So now I'm sitting in bed, stiff, trying my best not to move, regulating my breathing so I don't do anything that would cause me to suddenly jerk, and all of that stuff comes up. And so I'm there, and then I finally get to sleep. And the weirdest thing happened. Now, I've never taken drugs. I did once, but it was only because I was tricked into it. Being autistic, I didn't understand what they were doing to me. And so I ended up being exposed to drugs when it wasn't my choice. But other than that, I've never willingly taken illegal drugs. I've certainly never taken anything like LSD or anything like that. But I'll tell you, now, all I know about LSD is what other people tell me, and my brothers from another mother, have all, they've been in prison, and they've been homeless, and they've done drugs and lived that exciting life that I never had. And they tell me about it. And, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. But I never really experienced it myself. And, while I understood what they were saying to me, I never really could wrap my head around exactly, what they must have experienced. I could guess, but I wasn't sure. Until now. Because let me tell you, when I went to sleep, because I was trying my best to be still, and I finally did stay still enough, I went to sleep and had the weirdest dream I have ever had. I won't say it was a nightmare, because it wasn't scary per se. It was jolting, in that I saw things, weird things that you would only see if you maybe were schizophrenic. Disembodied heads, crazy, and I guess if you were a druggie, you would say, it was a good trip because it was funny things, it was weird things, it was things that were like, oh, geez, I've never seen that before. People splitting in half, going through things that would make you feel like you were in the special effects in a Hollywood studio. It was creepy, strange things. I mean, nothing vulgar, but things that you would just consider off-putting. I mean, just weird, strange things that were, I guess you could say they were antisocial because, people were, bleeding from weird orifices or bleeding, I guess, stuff that was not necessarily blood, or saying things that were just completely off the wall. And I was hearing and experiencing all of this. And what was funny is that, I normally get up around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, because I have to be at work at 6. Now, I work from home, so it's not a big deal. And so, here comes the next morning, and when I wake up, it's 7 o'clock. I'd slept 1 full hour before my normal time to awake. And I never sleep late on a workday. Never. I mean, maybe once or twice in 20 years. But, I mean, it is a rare case where I'll sleep beyond, 5 o'clock because I love being at work exactly at 6. I love it. The computer might make me late every now and again, but I love being at work. I like when I send my email saying I'm here and I'm ready to work. I like to see that thing say, 5:58, 5:40, 5:45. Anything other than 6:01. Once I hit 6:01, I feel like I failed. And I've done that from time to time because the computer takes forever to log in. And sometimes it wants to repair itself or fix itself or install something, and that can add minutes to your login. But anyway, this was not the computer. This was all me. I did not get up till 7 o'clock the next day. Now you can say, well, maybe it's because you spent all day down at the convention center getting that shot. Well, I didn't really spend all day there. I got there around 11 o'clock. The first time, 8 o'clock the second time. And I doubt I spent more than about an hour there the whole time. So, and then of course, now I don't drive, so that meant I had to take public transportation back, or one of my big fat brothers would take me back home. But either way, I mean, I didn't think I was that stressed out. Maybe I could have been because it was a lot of people there and I had to be the perfect werewolf then. I couldn't, I had to be perfectly neurotypical, remember all my manners, and let people touch me and everything else. And it's very traumatic, and it's very difficult for me as an autistic person to allow the level of closeness and touching and getting shots and all the rest of that stuff, and being on the public transit with people that are crazy, and oh gosh, dealing with homeless people asking you for money, and I had some of my big fat brothers with me, so it kind of knocks that back a little bit. But my brother's schizophrenic, so when I take him somewhere, he's big and strong and nobody messes with him, and when I'm with him, nobody messes with me either. But he, let's just say, experiences the world way different than I do, and as a result, I kind of have to keep a close eye on him. I kind of got to keep him close. And he's fine as long as I keep him close and he's, and we're focused on each other. It's only when other people interfere with us that becomes an issue. So anyway, but that's the thing. I didn't stress out that much while I was out. So I didn't think I was going to, sleep till 7 o'clock. But here it was, 7 o'clock. And then the sad thing is, now most of our meetings happen on Wednesdays, and it happened to be a Wednesday. And I was tired, even though I felt rested when I woke up. I got up and I started to deal with my day and prepare for my meetings and everything. I was so tired. And I know I went to sleep in one of the meetings. And now luckily we telework, but the truth is, well, I think I went to sleep in one of the meetings, and thank goodness my coworkers didn't get mad at me or anything. But that was my COVID-19 vaccine experience. And the tiredness probably stayed with me for another 4 days. And then after that, it was like nothing ever happened. It was like, oh, you're back to normal. All the little lights were green. All my systems were like, everything's functioning within desired parameters, sir. And I wanted to tell the little engineer down here in my central system, I was like, don't give me that. This system was all over the boards the last couple of days. Things have been an absolute wreck. I was the wreck of the Hesperus. But no. But now everything is just fine. I don't seem to be having any side effects from the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. So if you ever want to hear at least how the vaccine experience was for me, well, that's that. And the thing that, like I said, I'm still working on now is trying to get this new house, straightened away. Trying to prepare my new studio so that when I bring the YouTube channel back up to full power, I'm going to be able to make a video at least every other day. I'm going to try for every day, but in the very beginning, I'm going to do every other day. And one of the other things I intend to do when I retire is I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to take video production so that I can learn how to use the software to make the videos even better. I'm not trying to become an influencer. I'm not trying to become, somebody that makes $1 trillion on YouTube, peddling videos. I just want to do the best I can for people living on the autism spectrum. I want to leave as my legacy videos that really help people understand life on the spectrum and understand how best to help people living on the spectrum. I want to create videos that help parents, that help professionals, that help doctors, lawyers, policemen, anybody who has to encounter somebody on the autism spectrum. I want to make that encounter productive. I want to make it safe. I want to make it successful. And best of all, I wanted to make everything a learning experience that people on the spectrum can grow from. I want to share my life, my successes, and there have been plenty of those. And I also want to share my failures, because failure is the best teacher if you intend to be successful. Because without failure there can be no success. Nobody, my path to success was not linear. My path to success went through a lot of failures in order to get there. That's why you don't give up when you fail. If you give up when you fail, you'll never be successful, because it is failure that informs your success. It is failure that teaches you how to become successful, because you know what to avoid. And that's what I hope my YouTube channel does. I hope that once I get really going, once I retire and I can devote my full time to creating videos, I hope to do one a day. And I hope they're a darn sight more interesting than just sitting here watching my talking head. So wish me luck. And I'm going to send some videos up. I'm going to post a few between now and December. I'm going to do it whenever I can. But after December, I'm going to put this channel on warp speed. We're going to move. I'm going to talk about autism every day, and I'm going to do everything in my power to share as much as I can. Because I've been successful. I've gone from living on Section 8 housing and disability, SSI, Supplemental Security Income, SSDI, Social Security Disability Income. I've been on food stamps. And from there, I also went to college. I enrolled in the TRIO program. And in community college, they had something called Special Student Support for People with Disabilities. And I enrolled in that. There was a program called the White House Program for People with Disabilities. And I enrolled in that. You could go and become an intern in the federal government. There was something called Schedule A, which allows you to get a job with government entities as long as you are capable of doing the job. It allows you to access the job opportunities as a result of your disabilities. So there are a lot of things that you can do. Now, these things aren't advertised. There's no place where you're going to go and find it, but I'm going to tell you about those things. I was also part of DOORS. That's what we call vocational rehabilitation in the state of Maryland. It's the Maryland Department of Rehabilitation Services, DOORS. I went there. I went to college with their help. I had a 4.0 grade point average. And because of that, it allowed me to access many opportunities. So many parents are afraid that when their children who are living on the autism spectrum graduate from 12th grade, they fall off a cliff. And yes, if you do not know of these other programs that are there to help you, once you graduate from high school, you will indeed fall off a cliff. Because the things that are out there when you exit 12th grade and you enter adulthood, those things are not advertised. They're there, but they are not advertised. And if you do not know they're there, then how can you access them? So I'm going to tell you of their existence. I'm going to direct you to their websites. I'm going to do everything in my power to give you the advantages that I've had. And as a result, I'm hoping that you will be as successful or even more successful than I am. I'm not jealous. If you come to this channel and I can help you to become more successful than I've been, I am happy beyond measure. So let this be my first video in my new place, and hopefully there'll be many more. Thank you so very much. Again, I am the Autistic Werewolf. Be happy and proud that you're autistic. Be yourself and have a blast doing it. Take care.